Hey everybody, it's Shadowstar and Crystal here for another review of The Flash. This time, episode 7, Power Outage. And that being the title of the episode, we'll start with our villain of the episode, Blackout. A guy with electricity. We'll be seeing more of guys with electricity eventually, but this time we had this guy with electricity who... I didn't really care for the villain, but at least it led to some interesting stuff happening.
Yeah.
It's our first of quite a few things. It's our first Barry loses power episode.
Yeah.
It's also our first Base Under Siege episode. The first time where we're all in Star Labs and the villain's in Star Labs and things are bad and this happens a lot where like power's out and things are bad and everyone's got to be careful. There's quite a few episodes like that. So, and it led to some interesting stuff. It also led to some interesting dynamic with Wells because, we get to see that he lets out Tony and we get to see Tony versus Blackout for a half a minute.
Mm.
And then we get this confrontation where it's like, oh, but he doesn't care about people. But then Wells gives this speech where he claims to care about people.
Mm.
And that's what gets Barry going. But it was at least interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah.
Especially, it's more interesting seeing all the Wells stuff when we know stuff about Wells. Like, not even the future, just us. Even if you're just watching it. Because this is the first episode that really delves into the fact... I mean, we saw he knows the future, but now it really shows how much he is caring about the future.
Yeah, we've seen him pull up the newspaper, but I think this is the first time we've actually heard Gideon speak as well.
I think Gideon might have been in the first episode.
Well, anyway, comic fans will be excited about Gideon, I guess.
I don't know. I think this Gideon is more accurate to the comics than another Gideon. But, yeah, look, I enjoyed that, but honestly, speaking of villains, I actually enjoyed the B-plot more.
Yes! I liked that we brought back the Clock King.
I know, we could have had anyone we could have had anyone take them hostage, but I like for some reason we get to have the Clock King, a villain we've actually seen on Arrow, but amazingly, there's nothing in this episode that needs you to watch Arrow.
Yeah, I mean, as you guys know, we watched things out of order. I saw this before I saw any Arrow.
Yeah, same.
And I was fine with it.
The first time I ever saw this, I saw this without Arrow, so it was interesting. But I like how they pick up a lot of little plot threads. Like, he talks about his dying sister, which actually was his motivation for stealing money back when we saw him in Arrow.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah, so I like that they bring that up. And, he's, like I said in the Arrow episode, he's just a fun villain. He's an engaging villain. He's enjoyable. So, that was a good B-plot. But that was...
I liked that, Iris finally had to try fending for herself. She was really not justified in being mad at the Flash for not being there.
Exactly. I liked it, though, because this starts to put her faith in the Flash in question, which is a good thing, because she's been very devoted up until now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's nice to have an episode where,
But still, she should not be mad at him. He is not her personal bodyguard.
Yeah, I know, exactly, but it's Iris. What are you going to do? Expect her to be smart and rational? Yeah, right. But, I don't know, it was an enjoyable episode. That being said, there's not much to talk about. The Clock King's enjoyable. The Base Under Siege and Wells had some really good moments. And although it's the first time Barry loses his powers, we don't do too much with it. There are better episodes which delve into stuff when he loses his powers. It's just, okay, I lost my powers. It doesn't really delve into the fact that he may have to go on without them, because he gets them back pretty easily.
Yeah.
But all in all, that was it, wasn't it? There wasn't too much else in the episode.
Yeah.
There wasn't...
Pretty standard Flash episode so far.
Yeah, it was a pretty standard episode. I mean...
I'll go as high as 7.
Well, that's pretty good. I was going to give it a 6.5, but you can say 7. But, yeah, look, it was enjoyable. I'm glad they brought the Clock King. 'Cause like I said, they could have done that B-plot with any random idiot, but they chose the Clock King, so I've got to give them credit for doing that. And like I said, it's sometimes you just forget how connected this first season crosses over more than you expect it to. But speaking of which, what's the name of the next episode?
Flash vs. Arrow.
Flash vs. Arrow is coming up next. Our first annual crossover. Like I said, we've had mini crossovers with characters here and there, but starting from this point, every season, the Arrowverse likes to do a full crossover. And this is the first one.
Yep.
Next time, and I mean next time, we will have our first proper annual crossover, annual for the Arrowverse that is, with Flash versus Arrow.
Yay!
See you next time.